Hello, and welcome back to Shifts and Giggles, Conversations with Beth, where we talk about the shifts life hands us and try to find a little grace and wisdom and, yes, even a few giggles along the way. Today, I am super happy to welcome back a returning guest who brings something truly unique to the conversation, attorney Sharon Oberst DeFala of Oberst Law. Sharon is known as the divorce attorney with a heart. And honestly, that says a lot right there. Because when people think about divorce, they're not usually thinking about compassion, healing, or calm energy. But Sharon has built her practice around exactly that. She specializes in mediation, helping people navigate one of life's most emotionally charged transitions with greater peace, dignity, and humanity. And what makes her approach even more fascinating is that Sharon is also a Reiki master, bringing mindfulness, intuition, and grounded emotional support to her work in a way that's both refreshing and deeply needed. So today we're talking about navigating endings, finding clarity in difficult moments, and how healing and heart can absolutely belong in places we least expect, like a lawyer's office. So let's dive in. Welcome back, Sharon.
Thanks, Beth. Wow, that was a really beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. You're very special to me. You're a dear friend, and you're also a divorce attorney with a heart. And who doesn't love that? So, Reiki Master and divorce attorney, they're not the usual combo.
That's really funny. I bet you're right.
So, how did those worlds actually meet in your life?
Um, Thank you for asking that question. I haven't thought about it before, but the thing is, I think my spiritual path, right? Just my own personal spiritual growth, and growth implies up and depth, right? So my spiritual deepening and growth over the course of time just naturally informs the work I'm doing. And the work that I'm doing happens to be with people who are going through the transition of divorce. So I get to bring whatever I learn in my life into my work, just like we all do. It's just that's what my work happens to be. So the idea of what I noticed over, right, 30 something years of doing divorce with people, part of what I noticed is the more compassion, generosity, calmness, love I bring into the conversation, the more the parties pick it up and bring it in themselves. It isn't
Mm.
it isn't just an exterior force. It's something that already existed within everybody who ever married somebody, or almost everybody, certainly most. So I have this opportunity to help bring what I'm learning, my deepening, my awakening into the room. I see it growing in my clients, and it makes me want to do it more, which feeds on itself and brings more and more and more.
How beautiful is that?
It's really, really satisfying.
Um, so obviously you're not a litigator.
Correct.
You have a different strategy.
For the most part, I believe that my divorces end at the same place in terms of the law that
Right.
they would have landed if there were litigation. There's a rule book. There's a certain number of rules that control the outcomes, and it's just a matter of which path people take to arrive there.
So it's like, do you want to take the fighting path or do you want to take the peaceful path?
I
Is
would
that too simple?
Well, for some people, maybe not, but I would argue that nobody thinks they want to take the fighting path. I think they are there because they feel they didn't have any option, that the reason they wound up there is outside of their control. He made me do it. My lawyer told me this was the right thing. Everybody I know did it this way, right? Like there feels like there's a box that they're inside of already.
So can mediation work if one partner is angry?
Great question. Have I ever been in a mediation where neither partner was angry? Yeah, sometimes. But yeah, no, you're not expected to have like reached nirvana on your own before you get here.
Kumbaya, my divorce.
It You wouldn't need me. You wouldn't need a professional. You would just sign the papers, hand them to a judge, hold hands, and skip out of the courthouse together.
Right, exactly.
I
But so there can so I would imagine that's where your being a Reiki master really plays into that. So what does being a divorce attorney with heart actually look like behind closed doors?
Oh my gosh, it's so interesting. It's just let me say one or two words about Reiki, right? In case wherever we are.
Yeah.
But I think if nothing else, if you take away the spiritual belief, if you take away the faith in what the world is actually made of, and you just bring it down to its most basic, most simplistic, oversimplified basic, it's a breath control. It's stopping and following one's own breath in a moment. It's walking away from being reactionary, even if it's just for a momentary pause,
Mm,
which is key to all decision making.
yeah, ideally.
And really, what a divorce mediation is doing is a series of decision making. How are we going to handle the kids, the house, the money, the debt, whatever it is? It's all decision making. The challenge of it is you're making decisions with somebody whom you either no longer like or trust or respect. So
Right.
it's easier to not hear them or react to them or know that whatever they say is black when it's white, right? But if you're able to breathe, be present, look at what is actually the right decision for this situation and not what do I want? What am I going to win? What am I going to get? And that's, I think, what Reiki introduces into the room at its most basic. And then
Right.
there's, right, so just like stop and breathe and reminding people to reset and saying, just stopping and saying the kind thing before we move on to the thing that's on the tip of the tongue. That a lot of times I'll remind people that they're running a program that they're used to running, and that's how they got to divorce. But they're using shortcut language with each other because there's so much. You right, one of them says purple, and the other one's back to 2025 when whatever, right? So, hi.
Third person in the room.
If you could just tell me what we're talking about, if you could just loop me in, right? And then there are times where what happens after 2 hours of people doing their best, or even sometimes in the middle of people fighting, what has to happen is we don't all three need to be in the same room. It takes somebody out. Either the other partner is left, we're done for the day, or the heat is getting too high and I take somebody out, or whatever it is. And the first thing I do frequently in that pull out moment is I'm sitting by myself quietly doing Reiki in my head, just bringing positive energy into the room, letting the room fill with light, letting my pulse and my breathing slow. And that person gets there too. The other person gets there. They may cry first, they may scream first, but eventually they release whatever it is that's so, so painful for them, and then they're breathing next to me. And then we can have a conversation about what just happened.
What a beautiful process.
Oh, right? How fortunate am I to get to sit with people through those transitions? It's really, really beautiful. They're really beautiful people.
Yeah. How awesome is that? Um, when did you realize that you wanted to practice law that way? I mean, was there a moment?
I think it just keeps finding me. I think every time I'm in a mediation session, I'm learning within, right, first of all, whatever's going on in their lives, but also what's working and what's helpful and what I did before that I can bring in now. So I think it's just constantly an evolutionary process. don't remember there being a day where I woke up and was like, I know.
Rika, I'm going to incorporate Reiki into my law practice.
Yesterday I was litigating and today I'm meditating. No,
I'm meditating and mediating.
yeah, it's just, I think we're all on our own paths, and this is where my path is so far. I can't wait to see where it goes from there.
Well, it's very cool. But do your clients have an awareness about what's happening or how you practice differently?
I think that, well, first of all, they know I'm a holistic divorce attorney, that I believe in holistic divorce. I believe that divorce is not an incident or a death or a trigger. It's a part of a process, and it's part of your whole life. It's part of the beginning, middle, and end of your life. It's part of the up, like the down spout and the up of your life, right? It's all part of your world, and trying to isolate it and think that it won't impact everything else doesn't make sense. So, yes, my clients understand that when they come to me, they come to a holistic divorce attorney. Yes. I sit there and say, okay, now we're going to meditate. Now I'm going to do Reiki. And no, because it would take them out of where they need to be.
Yeah, out of their process.
Right? Exactly. They need to be present with what they're experiencing and what they know and what they need. So I think that my work, just like they don't have to know which statute I'm thinking of when I say this is how alimony works. They don't necessarily need to see the child support worksheet in order for me to explain how the child support worksheet is going to get them to a conclusion. So no,
Right.
just one of the things that's floating around up in here.
I love that. I love how you see divorce as part of a process. And I would imagine that in a lot of cases that it's actually a new beginning for a lot of people. The end of the divorce, signing the divorce papers is the beginning of a new life for each of them separately
And for their kids. Like,
and
yeah,
for their kids.
and for their in-laws. It's just all of it. Anybody who's been part of the circle of a relationship that is challenging, when the challenging piece is removed, you get to breathe. A client recently told me that she has a little mantra about this is not a death, it's a rebirth.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
People are really frightened of the idea of being divorced.
Yeah. I mean, it has such a, I mean, even in 2026, still has a big stigma,
It does,
right?
it does, and there's so much negative press. Even though, right, they say it's 50%. I think that 50% is doesn't apply to every, like, not 50% of all marriages end in divorce, right? Well, 50% of all marriages, but not 50% of first marriages. First marriages tend to have more longevity. Subsequent marriages tend to have higher percentages of divorce, so that skews the number. Nonetheless, that
It's a
aside,
high number.
right. So you would think it would be more socially acceptable, part of just how people move through life, right? Just whatever, but it's still, there are so many horror stories
That's true.
that it makes people afraid of it. And if you're afraid of something, you're less likely to open to it, research it, understand it, embrace it. But if you do your process right, when you come out the other end, you get there anyway. Like, oh, I get me back. I get my world back. I make my own choices now. Whatever I did or did not like about my prior relationship, I can pick and choose which pieces matter moving forward.
Yeah,
Which,
and it's not even just about the relationship. I don't think it's about the life you create afterwards. So, you know, you're celebrating being single,
yep,
right?
yep, yep, being independent, being liberated.
Yeah, being liberated.
One of the analogies I used was if you were packing to go on an ocean voyage, what you would need when you get to the other shore, right, is what you bring with you through your divorce. And it's part of why I like the idea of mediation is it leaves you both parties more resources when they get to the opposite shore. But that's right. That's what you keep. That's what I try to help people hold in their minds. What does the opposite shore look like? What's your relationship going to be like with your children, with your whomever, forever? And
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You just get to rewrite it and own it.
Yeah. So can you give us like some, because we've heard the horror stories of divorce. I mean, at least I have. I've heard them from friends. Um, can you give us some like, I don't know, good stories about divorce?
Yeah, how much time you got? Here's one that comes to mind. Uh, I was in a restaurant right before Thanksgiving, and I happened to be having a conversation with the owner of the restaurant about what, like, do they shut down? Are they busy? Whatever the thing was. And the answer for him was he has to run the restaurant. The restaurant does Thanksgiving type meals. Um, or like people who don't have Thanksgiving to go to and just want to come in for a burger, right? So they're running the restaurant. And then he and his new relationship and their life, he makes a dinner for them. But he also makes a full Thanksgiving feast for the mother of his ex-wife. His mother-in-law hosted every Thanksgiving when they were married, and he makes a point of she should still have the feast that she expects to serve on Thanksgiving, and he comes for as long as he can, but he doesn't stay the whole time.
Wow.
Right? Like, of course. Just because your daughter and I don't get along anymore doesn't mean like your life should blow up. What would that do?
That's beautiful.
And his kids get to have their grandmother's Thanksgiving feast every year.
Right.
He took his own whatever ego or his new relationship or whatever other pieces and let them be what they are and let this be the right thing anyway.
How beautiful is that?
And so, and it's I hold that up as a shining example. But I'll say all day long, I hear conversations with people and about people who my ex and I still like to go to this concert together, right? Like you just, oh, I was at Chicago, the Chicago band. It's actually like the Chicago tribute band.
Because there's none of the original members in it.
And two women were sitting together and a little older than I am. And I knew one of them. And I said, "Is this your sister?" And she's like, "No, we were sisters in law. And then one of us got a divorce, but we still love going to concerts together."
That's so wonderful.
It's constant. It just, people are smarter than, or more big hearted, or whatever it is, than just like the breaking that can occur in a divorce. Oh, I'll do one more. I
Yeah,
could
please. I love because I love this. I think it's important to share like the positive things.
Yes, I agree. So my client was wealthy. They were of significant means. The husband, the wife, the divorce, all of it. And we were wrapping up. There were just a few more documents that we needed to sign. And she and I went to go meet with her team of financial advisors to get the rest of the documents signed. And one of them wasn't ready. And they asked if she could come back in a week. And she said, "I can't come back in a week. That's the month that my husband's parents, my in-laws, and I always spend in Italy. And they would be devastated if I didn't go this year." Right
Oh,
now, imagine a divorce that took that away from them. Imagine ruining that with litigation or with rancor or with extended periods of fighting, right? It would,
yeah, and animosity and all of that stuff. Life
yeah,
doesn't have to be like that.
no,
Divorce doesn't have to be like that.
no, it shouldn't be. It literally should not be. I think it's very rare that a case actually needs a litigator.
What surprises you most about divorce?
Surprises me about divorce. Um, Huh, huh. One of the that surprises me a lot in my practice, and maybe this doesn't quite get to your question, but people come in upset. For the most part, when I meet people who are hiring me for that, they don't start out in a happy place.
I would imagine not.
No
Most
surprise.
people don't come in all happy that they want a divorce.
What surprises me is how often when I start unpacking the questions, what are the assets? Where is the children? What is your outside this office? What does your actual life look like? It's surprising how often what their life looks like from the outside, no one would ever expect they're unhappy.
Wow.
Right? Like so many couples who come to me for divorce, they're going to wait to tell their friends because no one's going to believe it. They live in beautiful homes, or they have like great social lives together, or they're like the outside of their lives is to be coveted,
And it doesn't match what's going on inside the marriage.
and the core is broken. Yeah, yeah, that always the fact that people come in angry, no surprise. The thing, the shells they've built around it, the support systems or whatever they have in place, those are sometimes really surprising to me. Like how you can't tell from outside what's going on in someone's life.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating, actually.
Taught me a lot of compassion.
Yeah, what do you think the the disconnect is? Like what keeps people from seeking divorce earlier, or I don't know, is there something that people could be doing to prevent divorce, do you see?
Well, I think that most breakdowns in relationships come down to a lack of communication, right? And a lack of appreciation, right?
Yeah.
Like I think any not just marriage, any relationship that has two or more parties in it, communication is challenging for everyone, and it needs a lot of attention and work for everyone, and sometimes more than people are willing or able to give it. And I think appreciation, even if you think, oh, that's nice, right? If you don't focus on it, if you don't say it, if you don't repeat it to yourself or say it out loud, then people don't know they're appreciated.
That's true.
So people in giant mansions with fleets of vehicles and nannies
And
who,
beaucoup money in their bank accounts.
right? And neither one of them has ever felt loved or appreciated by the other while they're working so hard to create this life for each other, are unhappy, are just, they're not, whatever else they have, they don't have their happiness, which
Yeah, and you can't buy happiness.
it turns out,
That's how it turns out.
as we've all tried one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, communication is a really challenging thing.
It's really hard. It just is. A marriage is hard. Communication is hard. Partnerships are hard. They are, but the valuable ones are worth the effort. So, and that doesn't mean I don't still believe in divorce, right? Like if it's just not going to work, it's just not going to work. But that doesn't mean don't have compassion. Don't be appreciative. Don't communicate. You still communicate. Communicate even more now because the person you're divorcing is walking away from you with a story in their head about who you are and what you did and said. So it's like of all the moments in your life, work
This
hard.
is your time to rise and shine
Absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
yourself as much as for anybody else, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yep, exactly.
Um, at what point should somebody seek out a divorce attorney?
I love your questions. And I love I never know which one's coming. Like
I
what
don't have to answer them. I only have to pose them.
seek out a divorce attorney. I guess the question is, where are you in your own mental process? Right? So if you think this marriage is untenable, this relationship is it cannot proceed as is, go find out what your rights are. Go find out what the options are. Go find out what's in store for you and if it can be one way or another. I would argue before you seek out a divorce attorney, seek out a discernment counselor, seek out a coach, seek out some other professional who can help you to the extent that your marriage relationship can be preserved. And then go seek out a divorce attorney because they're a dime a dozen, they're everywhere.
They're a dime a dozen. Well, I don't know a lot of divorce attorneys with hearts, but um, well, and it doesn't hurt to seek out a divorce attorney also just to find out what the process
Yeah,
would be
go
like.
go educate yourself. Absolutely. Talk to a lot of times when somebody calls me, if I'm the first attorney they've spoken to, I encourage them to speak to others before they come back to me so that you get a sense of what the field looks like and what's available. And I'll add, just because you already hired a divorce attorney doesn't mean don't talk to more divorce attorneys. And I'll add, even if you're about at the end of your divorce, whatever you went through and you want another pair of eyes on it, don't be afraid. There's no harm in having more opinions and helping you decide if that you are making the right choices for yourself and for your future self.
I love that. It's beautiful. What else do you want people to know about you and your work?
About me and my work. Divorce is a difficult, challenging transition in one's life. Period. It isn't more than that. It isn't less than that. And it doesn't have to be the thing that destroys everything about your life. It only has to be the next step in an important path that you're traveling in this lifetime. And if you want a divorce attorney who recognizes that and wants to be there with you while you do it, give me a call.
I love that. And I love that you're combining Reiki and your legal work all in the same thing.
It is all one thing, right? Our energy on this plane is our the thing we use to get through our everyday. So yeah, it's just part of all of it.
But it also helps you through your work. Like it's not just helping the work that you're doing with your clients, it's helping you while you're doing the work with your clients.
Yeah, it really helps keep me grounded and centered and outside of the fray so that I can keep my focus on where they're heading. That it's not, no matter how horrible this one's story is or that one's attitude is or whatever, it's okay. They'll get through this. We'll all get through this. We still have the bigger picture of there's a divorce process that they will come out of, hopefully better off than they went in.
Beautiful. I so respect you and your work, and I love that you're incorporating Reiki into your work. And thanks for sitting down with me again.
Oh, honey, thank you so much. I love my time with you always.
If people want to learn more about you, and where should they go?
www.oberstlaw.com is my website. On it, there's a tab for holistic divorce if they want to learn more about that. My blog is loveyourdivorce.com. Love and your have dashes, love dash your dash divorce.com. I'm on the socials now.
Woo!
I've started to record some guided meditations that I think are really helpful and useful in challenging situations. Beth, if you want, I'll send you a QR code for the first one I have recorded.
Yes, please.
And it's
I'll
just
put the link to that there.
helping people calm themselves, helping people reframe the thing they're doing.
Life is all about that reframing, right?
I think so. Just how your brain takes in what it's seeing.
Yeah, and you can change your story.
Right. And it's with the same facts, just different perspectives.
Yep, I
Absolutely.
love that. And Sharon DeFala practices in Norwalk, Connecticut. So I will put your hyperlink there for your website and for your meditations and your blog and all that stuff. Thank you, Sharon.
Sorry. And I also have an office in Monroe, Connecticut for people.
Yes, you do. Norwalk, Connecticut and Monroe, Connecticut. I know this.
You've been.
And now you do too. So, um, Thank you so much. Everybody stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you, sweetie.
I think it shouldn't take 3 times to push a button to stop a recording. I think that's a little excessive.
See if it stopped recording, because I didn't hear the little chime that says recording stopped.